Good day and welcome back to my channel. I did say I would talk about this one, so I will do a bit of a quick discussion about the base. So that's what I am in the process of finishing off at the moment. We're close, right? We are kind of close to where I need to be. So getting the base ready is something I need to do. Now, this was a demo piece that I had done, and I was playing around with layers of color and how this works, and obviously this is way too dark for what I'm after. The reflectivity, though, is actually what I was looking for, so I did get the effect that I was after there. So I am not going to go into the detail of how I built up the base, because there are many other videos out there that are better at explaining the process, and I will actually put a couple of them down below. Terrain Tutor, Terrainiacs, Alex Modeling, and there's another one that the first one that I'll actually put below is the one that I kind of relied on the most for its brush type technique. So those are the research, those are the videos I actually used to get the technique to do this with styrofoam, aluminum foil, and other Mod Podge. So with that said, the colors here are much too heavily laid down, especially in the swells. On the actual base, it's much lighter. I did a deeper or a more broad coat of white at first, so I get a much lighter color. The layers of the Mod Podge do build up this depth of this sense of depth. So you have a layer of green, a layer of blue, as you work dark up, and then every time you put a layer of Mod Podge on, I've noticed that when I'm putting the finishing touches on the base of the pearl, those layers are evident, and it gives a sense of depth when I actually look at it. So that really does come out, and I'll show it to you when we actually get to that moment. So the products I used are styrofoam, aluminum foil, and then tissue paper, cotton, Liquitex, high gloss. High gloss is important. This heavy gel medium and Mod Podge gloss. So these are the things. These are all I use, right? And and a brush. I made this so I could play with how each of these mediums worked with the cotton and what gave me the foamy like look I'm looking for, right? So over here, this is more of the foamy, splashy type stuff I was looking for. Here I was playing with trying to get an angle, so the waves seem to do this. Now, yes, it is not. This does not match the terrain of the wave, and so don't look at that. This is solely what kind of effect does a given medium with cotton give me, right? So this here is very thin pieces of the cotton with Liquitex. This here is the Liquitex and cotton, right? And what happens when you let the Liquitex harden into the cotton, right? So it's very similar to the effect that you get with toilet tissue and glue, which I will get back to in a minute. This is using Mod Podge as a glue and then pulling up the cotton, but letting it sort of soak into the cotton. This is Mod Podge on the top with soft stuff on with not a lot underneath. This is a lighter layer of a similar process where the base has more Mod Podge, and I just sort of let the cotton be itself near the tip, which is a similar one of this. What I found is the Mod Podge cotton combination gives me the most flexibility of effect, and that's what I like the most. The heavy gel medium does build up a base, so underneath here, which you cannot see, there's a small layer of the heavy gel medium, which gave me it's like under here, right? This is actually the one that uses the gel medium. And here's some more pieces of it where the gel medium actually creates that three-dimensional depth of effect, but it dries hardened, and it has more volume than if you just use Mod Podge. I really like this stuff for the surface, right? So for the small little waves and the things you're just going to dry brush the crests of, this is great. This is great for a layer of reflectivity, and I actually use this to make the hull look wet. So I put a bit of that on parts of the hull that would be wet from splash, but for the most part I'm using this. So I will go ahead and I will cut to sort of a vignette of images of the things that I've done, sort of the steps I took and the steps that my base went through. And then I'll be back here in a moment. So here's that vignette. All right, so this is the base made out of styrofoam. I just sort of rough cut the waves. I gave it a layer of paper to sort of smooth things out. I probably really didn't need to do this step, but I did it. And covered it with aluminum foil and set the pearl in to make sure I had left enough room in the hole, the opening, and that I was going to get the angle that I wanted of the ship. Once that was done, I went ahead and built the case. I probably should have waited, but I did it. And I just started laying in color. Did the overall of white, and then gradually started putting in deeper and deeper colors in the troughs, building up along the crests of the waves. And then once I got the colors I was after, I started laying in layer upon layer of the gloss Mod Podge. And as that cures up, you get a nice depth. You put them between each layer, but then you put a few layers, and you don't let them get super thick. You just let them lay up, and I'm happy with the effect. All right, so those were the phases I went through as I worked on building the base. Now this is where I'm putting the ship in, and this is where this is a gotcha. This is something I'm going to call out as something that caught me off guard that I did not expect, and I now have to work on fixing it. Is I did not realize that the glue, the PVA glue I was using, being the Tight Bond, it's drying yellow. It's not drying clear. So do not use the glue that I recommend, and the glue that I've been using for like the sails and everything else. I should have remembered this when I did the sails. But it dries, it does not dry white. It does not dry clear. So when I was packing these in and I was using glue, I should have been using Mod Podge. So that is not something I need to fix. I need to go back and brush in some white to cover up the yellow, and then go back and I'm going back and I'm layering in a bit of cotton to cover it up and get back and give it a better, give it the right color, because the yellow, that needs to go away. However, the effect of the cotton and things are giving me, for the most part, what I'm after. So I will now, and this is a close-up of the base and what I was telling you about the layers of depth that appear with the multiple layers of Mod Podge. This is what I'm talking about. You can see that there's stuff underneath the surface layer of what we're doing, and you see it here in these parts of the swells, and that's part of the effect that I did not expect. As I get to say maybe E, this is in the way, so I can't slide that. So hold on one second while I move the base is huge, by the way, in case you can't tell. So here, back toward the base here, where all of the water's coming back off the back of the ship, there's and this transition from light to that gray to the deep green to the deep blue, part of that is the way it was painted, but another part of it is the layers of Mod Podge. Now the layers of Mod Podge are nowhere near the layer of like poured resin, but this has that look, and that's sort of the illusion I was going for. So it is nowhere near as deep as it actually seems to be, which again, that's what I'm after. So with that said, that is the base. I will go on and I will finish working up the base and clearing off, finishing off that, and then I think it'll be time to show to sort of present the whole thing as a finished project in the next video. But that's what I have, and yeah, I hope this was helpful. Like I said, I do recommend, if you want to do something like this, if this is, if this kind of an effect is something you want for your ship model or whatever, I will have some video links down below, and I highly recommend them. This technique was so simple. It was unbelievably simple. I mean, you can see that right here at this surface layer, it's mostly, you can actually see in, but it's very, very easy. This is the first time I've done something like this. So it's that simple. This was my first attempt, and I am quite happy with the result. So with that said, I will say, pardon me. With that, I will say thank you very much for watching. I hope this was helpful and somewhat inspirational-ish. So yeah, I will say happy modeling. Talk to you next time.